Hi, good morning. Welcome to this Astrology Live for February 2nd, 2025. I'm Gina, and I'm excited to be with you here today to talk about the current astrology. When I decided to go live to talk about astrology this year, each day, it was this part of the year that I was most excited to talk about. There's so much going on. Every day it's sort of building and changing. And right now we have this really beautiful conjunction of Venus, the North Node, and Neptune here at the very late degrees of Pisces. I want to talk about this signature specifically. I also want to show you why the themes connected to it are going to be coming up for the next couple months. I'm going to sort of animate this chart and show you how the planets are going to be moving for the next couple months. And then I want to talk about some sort of larger themes that I think could be a part of that, because we're not just talking about a moment here, but the moment right here actually is a really good place to start. So let's do that. Let's talk about this alignment. I decided to put in the thumb dreaming dreamy dreams because there is something so dreamy about this particular transit. First of all, we have lovely Venus here in Pisces. You know, they say sometimes that if you know enough about astrology, you can sort of pick your chart for your next life, if you like, that you can put it in order. And I don't know if I believe that or not, but I don't think I do. But if I could put it in order, I would definitely order Venus and Pisces for a natal chart placement. And I have a lot of Pisces planets, but not that one. Venus is exalted in Pisces. It is such a lovely transit. And we're all getting a taste for this right now, especially with these other planets. But Venus rules love, values, things that have worth to us. That's why money can sometimes show up here. Our own self-worth can show up here, our confidence. And then with Venus exalted, it sort of brings in, even more supportive notes, right? I've been saying it's not just love, it's unconditional love. It's not just compassion, it's empathy. And I think that we've been feeling more optimistic, more confident, more positive somehow with this aspect. At the same time, we have this counter influence of Mars here in Cancer, where these really deep, difficult emotions have sort of been rising to the surface. And I think that it's worth talking about these two because they go together and thinking about them as a pair a little bit. They've just come off of a really beautiful water trine, but Mars is kind of going through it, and Venus is here all exalted, bringing in easier feelings of unconditional love for ourselves and for others, richer motivation, confidence. At the same time, as I said, the motivation might be there, the energy might be there. I'm thinking about Mars and Cancer retrograde, pulling us sort of in the other direction. Okay, let's also talk about some of these other signatures and begin to sort of blend it all together, because it's really the combination of Venus, Neptune, and the North Node that I want to talk about today. Let's talk about Neptune next and blend it with Venus. This is actually my favorite combination in astrology. Venus conjunct Neptune, I think, is my very favorite aspect. It's a beautiful transit. There can be something that can idealize love about it, right? Because Neptune is a very, very spiritual, here's Neptune here, a very, very spiritual influence. I remember the glyph for Neptune because it looks like Poseidon's trident, right? And Neptune, Poseidon, we're getting again into these watery feelings, these dreams, this dreaminess, and we're here in Pisces, Venus as well, we just spoke about. So Neptune is about spirituality, and because of that, we can sort of see things in their highest potential. So it can be those rose-colored glasses. Like wherever you have Neptune in your natal chart, if you know your natal chart, is a place where you tend to kind of idealize the situation. You're less likely to see the problems. At the same time, on the highest level, we can have almost a spiritual relationship with the thing that's there. So, Venus conjunct Neptune is such a beautiful display of love, of connection, of I want to say fate and destiny, but I'm holding off in saying that because those are words I need to use with the North Node. But I think when Venus and Neptune come together, because of that love and that spirituality connection, it is like a destined, like soul level connection. It can be very, very dreamy. And I actually don't think that it is idealizing a lot of the time. I know it can do that, but I think that it's seeing the highest potential. And do things in the real world always live up to their highest potential? Maybe not. But if for a minute we can get a glimpse of what the highest potential is of self-love, of love of other people, of feeling good, maybe feeling a little good, even if we don't have good reason to be feeling that way, there may be just sort of a lightness or a brightness a little bit right now, or a little bit of hope, maybe for the future, maybe despite necessarily good reason to be feeling that way sometimes. But yeah, Venus and Neptune, it's like a love of the world. It's loving the world. It's understanding the gift of being alive. It's connecting with things. It's being present. It can be confusing. It can be hard to explain, right? Okay, when we add the North Node to this, the North Node is the point in the sky that has to do with eclipses. And the North Node moves this way through the chart. All the other planets move this way. And the North Node isn't really a planet, it's a point in the sky, but it's a very powerful point. And it relates to karma, destiny, however you think of it. If you believe in past lives, if you believe in karma, if you believe in soul contracts or genetic memory, whatever it is that you believe in that sense, there's something about the North Node that pulls us where we're meant to go. And the funny thing about the North Node is that it's actually a little uncomfortable. There's something about it that really challenges us, and it does that because it's new. It does feel new. It feels different. We feel out of our comfort zone. The South Node, places where we're sort of ready to let go, sometimes in the natal chart, it can be easier to connect and do South Node things. Because even though it's stuff we're meant to move away from, they say it's stuff we've done for a long time. It's really in us. It's the part in the play that we always play. What's that called? Like when you're typecast, when an actor is typecast. When you're doing your South Node, you're doing the things that you've always done a million times and that everyone expects you to do. So while you're meant to sort of soar away from those things, they can feel really comfortable and easy. The North Node actually brings us into something that feels a little comfortable, but where we're ultimately meant to shine, right? Instead of getting that that typecast role that everyone's used to seeing us play, we do something different, and that's where you get the Oscar. That's where you get the recognition. That's where you have an extraordinary experience because you're stepping into this future. So to have that wrapped up in this signature as well is just so interesting, right? And that's why I said dreaming, dreamy dreams, because there's this self love, this confidence, this love for others, this love for self, almost to the point that we're idealizing it, we're spiritualizing it. We have our rose colored glasses on in a way. But it's our karma, it's our destiny, it's our fate to go here. And I want to show you now why this is really a little bit of a story. Thank you for leaving comments. I see your comments. I'm going to read them, and I will talk about your comments at the end. Please feel free to leave any questions or comments. I appreciate any engagement. Thank you for watching, and yeah, let's actually show on the chart why I think this is a part of a bigger story for a second here. So I'm going to move the chart forward just a couple of hours, only because I want to get this configuration away from the ascendant or any other markings. I don't want it near the MC either. Okay, so we're going to put it over here. Okay, so you can see now this alignment that we're talking about here in Pisces. We have Venus, the North Node, and Neptune. This is a chart from just later today, later on Sunday, February 2nd at 5:20 Eastern Time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this forward by the day. So when we talk about astrology, you'll often hear people talk about like this Neptune North Node conjunction is exact on February 7th, I think. But as long as the planets are within like 4 degrees of each other, it's active. So this has been active for a while, and it will be active for a while. Once Neptune moves into Aries, it will be different because it'll be an off-sign conjunction, but I want to show like more than that. Okay, so we have Venus here right now also coming into alignment with those planets, but Venus is going to go retrograde on March 1st. Venus will be in Aries by then, but for that reason, Venus is going to come back around through this area of the chart. At the same time, we have Saturn moving forward and Neptune moving forward, the North Node moving this way. We're also going to have some other planets come along for the ride. Mercury's getting involved, and Mercury will go retrograde. What you're noticing is just here, the way in which Venus, Neptune, and the North Node are really sticking together. Okay, so you've got Neptune and the North Node and Venus. Let's just move forward a day at a time. Okay, so by here, by February 6th, Venus has moved into Aries. But you see, the North Node and Neptune still hanging out right at 28 degrees. Okay, now we have that exact conjunction where the Neptune has passed over and is on the other side of the North Node on February 7th. And you can see Venus is still right here. It's in Aries, but Venus moves forward. Okay, we're getting Saturn more and more involved in this, but here we are, February 20th. And look, Neptune's at 28 degrees still, and the North Node's at 27 degrees and 40 minutes. So everybody's still hanging out all February. Okay, sorry, it did shift down here just because the ascendant changed, but we're still looking at just the same thing. Neptune, North Node, and now look, Mercury is beginning to get involved. This is about as far as Venus gets. Venus is going to start coming back around now. Here we are at February 25th. Okay, here we are at the point of the North Node, or the new moon in Pisces at the end of February. Look at all the planets here in Pisces at this time. We have the Sun, Saturn, Moon, Mercury, North Node, Neptune, all together. So this is a powerful point in the cycle for sure. And you can see Neptune, North Node, 27, 28 degrees. Okay, so these lessons we're working with for a long time. Now Saturn's getting closer and closer to this mix. Mercury is now in this conjunction as well at 26 degrees. Okay, Mercury's crossed over into Aries. Now Venus is moving backwards. See how Venus, now the numbers are red? That means that Venus is retrograde. So here comes Venus back. Now we have Venus conjunct the North Node and Neptune again. And this date is March 27th, 2025. Right? This is a long story. Mercury is also retrograde at this time, heading back towards these planets. Right? Here we have this incredible configuration at the end of March. Neptune finally has crossed over into Aries. There will be some retrograde, but will not meet up with the North Node again. But just as that's happening, Mercury and Venus together retrograding across that line into Pisces. There is so much here, you guys, for the next couple of months, the next 3 months, really, along this Pisces-Aries axis. I want to do a longer video about this, but I just wanted to mention a couple things right now that I'm thinking about that feel like lessons around this Pisces-Aries story. I'm going back to today. Here's right now. Here we are. Current time. Current picture of the sky. I want to talk more about this. I'm just going to say two very quickly. One is I think that there's something about redefining what it really means to sort of surrender. We think of the word surrender, we think of letting go as giving up, but it isn't. It's just taking our direction from a different source rather than listening always to our logic, to our planning, to our programming, listening to our instincts, to our gut, following what feels right, listening to our inner wisdom. That is true surrender. And I think that that could be a part of this story with so much in Pisces and also in Aries. There's like a fighting and a letting go, a moving forward and a pulling back. I want to say more about it, but we'll leave it there for now. Another is that I think we might work on is sort of relearning or re-experiencing vulnerability. I think that especially with Venus retrograde as a part of this story, Venus didn't have to be retrograde while all of this was going on. We could have just had the North Node and Neptune meeting up. Saturn didn't have to be a part of it. You know, there's so much along that axis at the same time that I think that there's something about learning about how being vulnerable actually makes you safer with the right people, because you're being real and they sense that in you, and that authenticity draws other people who are on the same wavelength together, and then everyone can sort of be their real, natural, vulnerable selves together, and that actually is what actually makes you safe, not protecting yourself and being overly guarded, as perhaps we've been in the past. I really need to flesh these ideas out. I need to talk about them in more depth and explain where they're coming from, but I just wanted to give that overall big picture of what's going on right now. I am seeing some different comments, but nothing that really needs to be addressed. Let's see. I'm going to attach some other videos that are relevant right now. I basically talked about this aspect yesterday too when I did the weekend overview. So check that out as well if you enjoyed this. And just thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow.